In the iRacing virtual universe, when the aroma of Belgian chocolates mixes with the smell of engine exhaust, it's a safe bet you're either at Spa or Zolder. Today, it's the former. From Spa-Francorchamps, it's the third edition of the Snail Racing Community Race. It was just 8 months ago when Lawrence Rabbits introduced his wife Annie to the sport of sim racing. Within 20 minutes, Annie had purchased an iRacing subscription because, like so many of us, she was hooked. The couple decided it would be a good idea to record Annie's racing progress so they could look back at it in the future and have a laugh. And that is how the Snail Racing YouTube channel was born. You know, Annie's personality and camera presence attracted subscribers, and as the subs count grew, Annie and Lawrence decided to create an online community for beginners and rookies where everyone could learn together. Community races like the one today are a way to thank those subscribers for their support as they watch the continuing adventures of Annie on iRacing. Now, during these unprecedented conditions, what better medicine than to race without the seriousness of the dreaded I rating, without the pressure of the always looming safety rating? It's time for a dose of multi-class racing fun, and that vaccination streams your way live as it happens right here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good health, everyone, and welcome to yet another GSRC broadcast. Way up in the press box to bring you our Words Eye View. It's Steph Slocker, along with yours truly, Bill Soupson. Sean Ambrose has director duties with cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Newcomers to the sport of racing might think spa means mud baths and cucumber slices on the eyelids. To erase any of those misconceptions, let's take a look at today's racing venue.
Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. Less than an hour's drive east from the German border, this Belgian track has come to define racing for many different eras in the sport. It's no wonder it continues to entrance drivers when you look at the stats. The 7 kilometers over the course of a lap includes more than 330 feet in elevation change as it weaves its way through the Ardennes forest. Packed into this is 19 turns, some of which are considered among the most famous in the world of racing. Corners like La Source and Blanchemont have been on the lips of drivers for decades. But by far the most notorious is Eau Rouge and Rétillon. Typically referred to in name by just the first section, it dips low and swings left, then compresses and climbs to the right up a massive hill. The sequence ends with a completely blind crest that sweeps to the left and leads onto the incredibly long Kemmel Straight. The bravery required to be fast through there will pay off towards one of the most popular passing spots at Lacombe. Eau Rouge is exemplary of the rest of the circuit though. Most of the turns are incredibly fast and many include much of that signature elevation change. As jaw-dropping as the track is, you have to remember that this is the modern truncated layout. The old one, raced until 1979, was 14 kilometers in length, yet carried an average speed of 150 miles per hour. Present-day safety measures do cut down on the danger, but even in recent history, the circuit has proven deadly. It's clear why this track continues to be revered and respected by racers the world round.
And there's a lap around Spa. You get to know this beautiful layout here. Let's go ahead and look at these event details here. Steph, what are we doing today?
Well, so we're here for an exhibition race. No points will be awarded. In other words, welcome to the Snail Racing community, where the racing's made up and the points don't matter. They have completely open setups to tinker away on their MX5, their Porsche 718 Cayman Club Sport MR GT4, and their Audi RS3 LMS, which is a TCR car. The racing here today will be 40 minutes long, and everybody gets 2 fast repairs, which might be quite handy, especially if you're in the Porsche 718 Cayman, because that car really likes to hang its tail out.
You know, one of the things I always worry about when I'm in a multi-class race, and one of the things I always look for when I'm commentating one, is what is lap traffic going to be like? I guess the length of the track here at Spa might help a little bit.
It most definitely might help a little bit. The thing is, the MX5 is quite a lot slower than the GT4. The Audi not so much slower in the straight line on the Porsche, but the Porsche has quite an advantage in the turns. So it should be really interesting how that is going to play out between those two. I would figure that the lap time difference is somewhere around the 5 seconds mark between those two. Although I have no experience with these two on this particular track, so we'll have to look a little bit deeper in qualifying there. Mazda should be quite easy. Both cars have way much more traction and speed anywhere on this track than the MX5, but will be a little bit interesting between the Porsche and the Audi how that is going to play out between those two.
About 20 to 25 seconds between the fastest two classes than to the MX5. So I did the math. I figure they're going to get there maybe about the halfway mark. Maybe they'll get around. I figure about the 21 or 22 minute mark, they should be making their way around to lap traffic, but you never know. Let's talk about the fuel. 100% fuel. Now, I know that my MX5s can go 40 minutes on a full tank of fuel. The other cars can as well, do you think?
Yeah, the Audi RS, it can go for about, I think, 72 minutes. The Porsche, about 80 minutes. So they are going to be quite well on their fuel. After all, both of these cars are made for endurance racing in mind, most notably for the Nürburgring.
There you go. Now, let's talk about some of the tricky corners here. What's interesting for me is sometimes corners are easier, and like you put me in the Dallara, and I can do like the kink at Road America without a problem. It's just kind of point and go, you know. But sometimes when you're slower, some of these cars have a harder time. Any tough places like Rouge? Is that going to be tough on any of these guys?
Oh, well, Rouge, left-hander, is going to be easy as always, Bill. It's going to be Radillon, which is going to be way harder to drive through. In the 718, I can imagine some people having a little bit of a problem because, as we mentioned, it is an on-throttle oversteer beast. So it will be interesting how they set up their cars. Probably a little bit easier, probably tuning in that more understeer, which is going to make it a little bit difficult than right over the crest at left-hander, right on top of the hill. Where you might be able to run a little bit off track to only get a 1x. But if you take too much, obviously we all know that. We have all run into that. We get a slowdown, and that can hamper you a little bit down Camel Straight. But where I would be much more looking into, especially if you're the 718, is Piff Path, or Fangio, as most commonly known in the English language. The exit out of that, the exit curb actually, is quite off camera. And in the 718, it can really catch you out, especially with that artificial turf that's laid out there.
What's the draft situation like with these classes?
Well, we all know it. We have driven the MX5 well enough in our Riku times, and maybe even in the Roar before the 24. And thus, we all know the MX5 has quite some draft. It drafts really nicely, especially down Camel, maybe even into the bus stop chicane. The Porsche, it is a little bit of a tricky situation. If you have a small straight, so from Pujon on into Piff Path, it doesn't draft all too well, but down Camel Straight, that's really where the draft will kick in, and it kicks in really big and really hard. You're really gonna know when that draft is there. RS3, pretty much the same thing. It goes slowly in the draft, and then all of a sudden, it really kicks into high gear in the draft, and you're gonna fly past someone if you're not careful.
I'm glad you hear, because honestly, to pull back the curtain, I've spent a lifetime in the MX5. I probably have spent a lap or two in each of the faster cars, so I'm glad you're here to help me on that, because I really don't have an idea about it. What about setups? These guys are kind of newcomers. When I start to do setups, I'm about as effective as like changing a tire with a banana. Not a lot you can do with the MX5s. What about the other stuff?
Well, the TCR, it is one of the biggest series that we have in Europe, the TCR Championship. It's a FIA championship, so the setups are slightly restricted in some ways, where you're not allowed to change stuff, like, for example, in the gearing. But anywhere else, you can pretty much change anything you dream of. Same with the Porsche. It is a GT4 car, yes. It is technically something that only silver drivers should be driving. That means Pro-Am drivers or Am drivers. Also, gentleman drivers are mostly found in the GT4 cars. But still, the Porsche really, really dedicated to what it can do, and you can tinker it quite nicely to your likings.
How's our class sizes looking? We got a pretty good mix?
Yeah, I would say so. It's gonna be really interesting to see how everything's gonna work out in the race. But right now in qualifying, I would say we have some very nice tight looking package at the first few groups. But the MX5 a little bit spread out right now, so gonna be interesting how that is gonna go come a racetrack.
Fine going on right now. Director, real quickly, I'd like to go talk about the driver that just got on the pole, car number 23. That's Andy Maxwell. His hometown is Bristol. Now, you NASCAR fans don't get excited because that's Bristol in the UK. I got more
Yeah, it's the
information.
original one.
Yeah, there you go. His nickname is get this, Steph. This one you might want to avoid. His nickname is Hazard. So I don't know if you really want to race that close to a guy who has Hazard as his nickname, sitting at the top right now.
You never know what hazard. It just says hazard. It could be a speed hazard.
There you go. Beautiful day. Why don't we take a look at the weather real quick to see what we're dealing with? Steph, I'll let you talk about that. Oh, it looks like it's in dollars. Can you do the exchange rate into euros there? Fahrenheit to Celsius. Fahrenheit. See, I was being silly. Look, I have no idea. A lot of the drivers and our fans, I think, are from your part of the Atlantic Ocean, so your side. 69 Fahrenheit. I have no idea what that is in your language.
69. Let's have a look. 69. That is a 20.5
right?
degrees Celsius.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Got it. My wife went into the hospital and they were taking her temperature in Celsius. I thought she died, but I guess I figured it out after a while. Oh, good race. It looks like the temperature. The point is, it's not too hot. I think the traction's going to be nice. A little humid here in Belgium, but every race I've ever seen at Spa, it rains, so I guess 89% humidity. Let's consider ourselves lucky.
I would actually say that's quite high, especially for a European track where we normally only see about 60 to 65% humidity. So 89 is very high, and that actually has a little bit of an effect to the cars, as they're not going to produce as much power.
Let's look at car number 210, Director, if you could. It's Austin Knight. His name is Austin, and he's from Texas, so you think the capital of Texas is Austin, but no, he's from San Antonio. Thanks, folks. You got close. 23-year-old. He's a former real-world dirt rally driver, so it's good to see him racing here on iRacing. We got an old-timer here as well. Let's see if car number 32 is out on the track. I did a little research on these guys. Oh, he's in the pits right now. We're going to talk a little bit about him later. I'm talking about Alan Toon. You know what? This guy's really exciting because it gets my Robin Hood fixation going on here. He lives in Nottingham. That's cool. How old is he? 67. Oh, Robin Hood. In the pits right now in his Audi.
Well, I would say going back to the medieval time is quite a long shot for him.
It is indeed. Let's take a peek. Who is sitting at the top of our MX5s? There we go. It's the number 1 car. Driven by, if I can pull it up here on my screen. No, it's not. Oh, that's his position. Sorry, it's not. There we go. Looking at this. I got to learn how the graphics work. Martin M.J. Sampson. Car number 79. See I got it figured out now. I've done these before. A little advice. We got a lot of newcomers here, a lot of youngsters. We're not going to take this too serious. We're not going to be mean to them if we see mistakes out there. But I do have some advice to some of the newcomers. If you're getting into one of these races, go ahead and fill out your iRacing profile, would you? It helps out the commentators. We can talk a little bit about you. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and see if Oh, she's not out there. Darn it, I had stuff to say. Well, we'll wait to see if she actually goes out to race. I guess we should talk about the host here, Annie Rabbits. Car number 005. She's put in a qualifying time and is just waiting right now. Nope. She's not out there right now. She does have her qualifying time in. And she'll be back in a little bit later. A lot of drivers getting all their personal issues taken care of before we go racing for 40 minutes because you don't want to be answering the phone or signing for any packages. Looking at car number 73 there. Who are we looking at there, Director? I'm not able to pull it. Oh, there's Dennis down at the bottom. There we go. Dennis Peterson. Did not put any practice time for Dennis, but he did get his qualifying time in, sitting well down the order. That's a good-looking car. Johan ES. Don't want to follow too close on that one. That's a good-looking car. My director says crash test dummies. Oh, I'm going to old school demographic here. Nobody's going to get that one.
Well, you know, Soup, one kid had it worse.
Oh, Stefan, I am so proud of you. Oh, that song was a hit before you were born, my friend. Nicely done. Glad you're here with us on the Global SimRacing Channel as we bring you this fun race. We're hoping you're having a good day. Hope everybody is safe. Things are going to come together in the world here pretty soon. We're all going to get back to normal. Let's have some fun. Some multi-class racing from, I don't know, Steph, I like Spa. How do you feel about this track in general?
This is the point where I withhold my actual... I'm honestly, I do think it is quite an overrated track. It isn't a great track. It's a boring track. It doesn't offer a lot of opportunities to overtake. It has Eau Rouge, it has Red Lion, but looking apart from that, it gets, especially in iRacing, just gets used too much, in my opinion. And that is one of the reasons why I don't like it.
Well, let's go to the grid. If you wanted some entertainment, let's play the GSRC consumption game. Every time one of the commentators butchers the pronunciation of these names, take a sip. I'm going to take the top class here, Stefan. John Kelly on the pole. He's going to be flanked by Andy Maxwell. Joe Perry, we know him from, he usually drives in the SRFs with Frank Tibosh. Outside of him, Austin Knight and Kevin Whalen are going to be next on the grid. Ralph Cullen and Scott Angelo are next, if I can read what's going on there. Sorry if I didn't get the first part of that right. And down in row 5, there's Frank Tibosh and Austin Knight. I guess I was reading some of those wrong. Let's look at who's coming up next. Are they all in the same class? Stop me when I'm supposed to stop here. Roger Morton, Ajahn Kramen, David Hall, Kenneth Whalen. I'm going to go a couple more. Dale Bennison and Emil Johansson. Steph, I'm going to let you start on 17th. I have no idea what I did there.
Actually, Soup, you will have to take everything because my iRacing crashed.
Okay. Right, I will. This is fun. Get those drinks ready because I'm good at butchering these. 17th, Alan Toon is going to be inside of Simon Fell. You go down to row 10 there. That's going to be Sean Rendell and Jasmine Beach. Let's go to the next row. We'll see who's in row 11 as we have a pretty good size field here today. That's going to come up right now. We'll tell you who that is. We got Mark Bradshaw. Again, we know him from the SRFs as well. Martin Sampson, we talked about him. Lyndon McMurphy, Jacob Leon, Jeremy Naylor. Hey, we know Jeremy. He used to race in the MX5 World Tour. The engines are beginning to rev. We'll talk a little bit more about, are they doing a pace lap or are we going here, Director? We are. Let's go ahead. We'll pick it up here as they are coming into the chicane here. So we'll get ready to go. You can see the next. So, talk a little bit about Jeremy Naylor. I wanted to mention that we know that name from he used to race in the MX5 World Tour. He was a fan of the old Roadster before the actual the right wheel sitting on the right-hand side of the car. Pace car pulls in. It's time to go racing. John Kelly is in control of the field. 40 minutes of racing. Let's get ready to go. As they head on, we'll wait for Kelly to get going. You never know when the start line is here, and I guess we're going to start on the other side of La Source, something the commentator should have known. The only track where you finish, the start line is different than the finish line. A little contact going on in the back as we hear some guys banging and bumping, but we'll get it straightened out. Okay, Kelly is now in control. They start to gather up. You know what to do. Gather up the chickens, take covering on the cows because the horses are out of the barn. John Kelly leads the fastest class down through Arouge and Radillon. Kelly behind him. Perry behind him. Maxwell in a battle with Knight. We jump back to the next class, and we got a big crash. David Ayers is on his lid, car number 666. You give your car the number of the devil, and that's what's going to happen to you. We'll look at that one a little bit later. Back, we'll go to the MX5s now. Trouble up here, too, as the MX5s work their way through the chaos that happened from the faster class. I believe our leader down here is not going to be Samson. There is some real bumping and banging. We're going to come back and look at lap number 1 a little bit later when things settle down. We got a lot of stuff to look at. Holy moly. Sweet sassy molassie. What a fun first lap that was. That looks better. I like that shot. That looks organized. They're coming right at you. No problem there. The Porsches were much more organized than the Audis and the MX5s. I can say that. The yellow car with that blue and white stripes right down the middle, that is John Kelly. If you don't know your commentator, he has horrible rods and cones, so if I get the color of the car wrong, I'll enjoy it. Kelly. Perry now is up into second, as Maxwell, who started outside of row 2, has fallen down to third. Oh, director, hang on just a minute. Can we get it from number 210, Austin Knight, the Texas driver? Just looped the car around and put it in the wall. He was racing in, I believe, third position at the time. That Porsche, his day is done. Austin, here's a tip. I know you guys are new to iRacing. Don't crash when the commentator's looking at you. There you have it. Oh, it's a sad day in Texas. All right. We're going to come back live. We're going to catch our breath, and then our director says we're going to go back to lap number 1. And let's go ahead now, director, and see. Boy, there's a lot of stuff to look at. Let's go ahead and look at. See if we can find. Let's just watch lap 1. Our director has a shot at it. I'm telling you, there was so much carnage on the first lap. It's really hard to pick the spot. Who are we looking at, director? Okay. All right, here's this car number 666. And there he goes. Now watch him pile in behind. We're going to take a look from the chopper. And you can see this wasn't that. Look at all the chaos going on. Too many names to mention. As they bang and they bump and they scramble. A lot of drivers have had trouble. We've checked. All right, now here's Samson. This is a little farther along. Part of the same crash. A lot of carnage. The big one was in the MX5. A lot of solo crashes up front. We've talked about the Porsches. Let's go ahead and look at the Audis now. This is car number 68, I believe, and he's got some traffic ahead of him. This is an Audi. This is Scott Angelo. And he's right behind Dale Benison. Now is Benison in an, oh, I think it is Benison. Let's make sure I'm looking at the leader of this class. Okay. Want to make sure my timing and scoring is correct. I believe our leader is in this class. It's Malcolm. Let's go ahead. Yeah. All right. So Malcolm, who started 13th overall, has picked up 10 spots. Let's look at the car number 30. Scott Malcolm races out of Scotland. Again, I know Malcolm from his days in the MX5 World Tour as well. We talked about this being for newcomers. Scott Malcolm been on the iRacing service only for 12 years. Now, right ahead of them, just making the pass, that was Carl Conji, just got around Kevin Whalen as those guys battle farther down in the faster class. I really think the excitement, if we stay right here, because I really think Malcolm getting in his Audi behind these Porsches, I think he's going to be faster than the cars in front of him. Malcolm has 3.5 seconds on Roger Morton. This is 9th overall. We ride on board with the Scott. Through the chicane. Another tip for new iRacers, if you're in a multi-car race, boy, nothing worse than picking a fast class and being slower than the class behind you. So that's what's happened to Kevin Whalen right now, and Carl Cronchi. Let's look at car number 7. We're back to reset our audio levels. Let's look at car number 37. This is Dale Bennison. He is under attack from Scott Angelo. Angelo look to make a move into Lacombe. He gets that blue car down underneath. He's going to go. Oh, there's a little bit of contact going off into the grass is Angelo. Angelo gets it straightened out, and now he's under attack. Here comes Arjun Kramer and Will Keck behind him. Right on board, I believe, with the car in front. On board with Angelo, looking back as he starts to distance himself. He's got about now 8 or 9 car lengths on Dale Bennison. Let's go ahead down to the MX5s. We'll jump in on second position. We got a side-by-side battle here. That is Williamson, Jonathan Williamson in the 84. Mark Olstjack behind him. A little bit of blinking problems for Mark. Not far behind in the chase, Jeremy Naylor. Hey, Jeremy and Simon Fell. Now, Simon Fell is not in an MX5. He's going to work his way through. He's out there in the Audi. Not part of that battle. Leader of that class. You can see it down there, Jacob Leon. He's got himself about 10 seconds back to the next driver, which is, I think, is Alex Vanderveer. We're looking here at P2. Okay, this is Roger Morden being chased by Scott Angelo. Angelo in the blue car looking to get that spot back, I believe. Angelo, 52 years old. Born in Australia, currently living in Florida. Working both sides of the track like a jaywalking mailman. Seeing if he can find any kind of maneuver. We're going to stay on this one. We've been jumping around a bit. Let's see if Angelo has anything down into Lacombe. Look at the defensive line that Morton takes. Nothing to be done there, but that shallow entry from Morton means he goes a little bit wide. A car spinning in front of him. That was Carl Cronje. He goes off. That was not for position. We're going to stay on this battle because it's a good one. Morden, Angelo, not too far behind. the multicolored car of number 13. Man, that is a pretty looking car as he gets right on the back of Wilquette, of Angelo is Wilquette. Here comes, oh, this is going to be, that's a chance to make the pass here as they root through Puhan. Wilquette's going to wait. Let's see if he can get a drive as they go down the hill. We ride on board with Wilquette. On him right now. My goodness, he is close on him. Just a car length back. Tighter than a Mardi Gras wino, my dad used to say. Going a little bit wide is Angelo. That's going to open the door for Wilquette if he gets the momentum. Shutting the door now is Angelo. Wilquette spied. He tried, but Angelo denied. Great racing going on here. We like to call it the popcorn position. Dale Benison back there with salt and butter on his racing gloves, watching the action in front of him. We ride off the tail of Angelo. You can see Wilquette. Then in the very back, the white car is Benison. Not that far back is Arjun Kramer. Here's the pass made, going into the chicane. They bump, they bang. Wilquette gets the best of it, but we're not done yet. Look at the momentum from Angelo as they come off that left-hander. The defensive line now as they go down into the Source, raced by Wilquette. That's going to cause, he starts to drift over to cover. That shallow entry is going to cost him a little bit on corner exit. Watch the momentum from the drive-off from Angelo now. The blue car, the Audi, has a run, but he had to exit a little bit tighter. He can tuck him behind and get a draft. We're going to stay on this one. We've been on this battle for a while, but it's a good one. He is too close to tuck him behind. If he comes across, he'll clip the back of the tail. Now he has some room to get into the draft. 2 car lengths back. Watch the draft pull him up as they work through El Rouge and Radion. 3 car lengths back, but now Angelo's in the tow. 2 car lengths back. Will he force the issue going into Lacombe? 1 car length back. Half a car length back. Does he dive to the inside or does he wait? He waits. That was a good one. We'll come back and check that one later. What a good battle. Let's go back up and look at our overall leader. Car number 66, John Kelly. Out there cooking with hot fish grease. 1.6 seconds ahead of Joe Perry. Perry has him inside. There you see Perry in the dark car just at the top of your screen. Now watch him come into your screen. Just barely see him. Looking at John Kelly. More crashing going on. Attrition playing a factor as it always does here at Spa, especially with a lot of young, unexperienced drivers who are really racing on the edge right now. I think our director has a look at it. Car number 79. And to be honest with you, if we were looking at all the spins that are going on, this is Martin Sampson. We talked about him earlier. If we followed all the spin that was going on, we're going to watch this one, we'd do nothing but break our director's replay button. Sampson in the MX5. Just comes around the tail end, gets a little bit of loose on him, and then he noses it into the wall. Tough break for Martin. Looking back at Malcolm now. Scott racing very comfortably. Talked about picking up a big margin. 2.5 seconds. Back to Roger Morton. In Switzerland, it's illegal to own a single hedgehog because they die of loneliness. You got to kind of worry about that happening to Scott Malcolm right now. He's got nobody really to race in his class. He is right behind Kevin Whalen, but that's not an Audi. That is a Porsche. So I guess it's for overall position, but nevertheless, first in class. Scott, congratulations. You're having a good run. Let's jump ahead to the cars in front. They're side by side, or are they not? Nope, I guess not. Thought I saw them on the screen side by side. There's a pass being made. Kind of just let him go there. We're going to go back now and look at, oh my goodness, this is Morton under attack by Scott Angelo. We've been watching this battle in Wilquette. Angelo really, really late under braking going into Lacombe. He gets not only the guy he was trying to pass in Wilquette, he also gets the MX5 of Lyndall Murphy. Oh, Lindell, they're all around you, but he find a place to hide that little MX5, make it as skinny as possible. They all get fired. There's more coming. Tremor goes by now as we ride on board with Morden. Looking up at Benison. Benison trying to get Wilquette. Angelo has got the best of this group. That's the blue car. As they head down into Pujan, this sweeping left-hander. Take a breath and say, whee, as we go around. And now down the hill they go. These guys are putting on a great show here in this middle class. This is the best battle on the track. We've been jumping around a lot. Let's go ahead and catch our breath and just watch some good racing right here. The blue car is Angelo. We talked about Wilquette and the multicolored car behind him. Dale Benison in that white car. And then one more back there, Roger Morden. Great racing in the Audis. Glad you're with us here on the Global SimRacing Channel. The Snail Racing Community Race. It's for fun. But it's exciting. Just because there's no season points on the line doesn't mean the racing isn't good. Oh, Frank DeBorsch had a problem in car number 19 right in front of the guys we were looking at. This is going down into the chicane, I think. The first part, it's the right-hander. The car gets around him. Now, luckily, the car cleared off into the Belgium Tundra there, and he did a good job of coming back onto the track, not getting into the way of the oncoming cars. Although I think Frank Wilquette might have a different opinion about that. Now, in the Porsche, that is Wilquette. Right, I'm sorry, that is Tybors. Behind him now is Wilquette. Remember, that Porsche has kind of broken up the battle. It's allowed Scott Angelo to drive away a little bit, as has Scott Malcolm. You know, if we look at this, look what has happened as we look at Wilquette trying to get around the car of Tybors here, and he's going to do that right now as they head down into Rivage. No, he's going to have to wait. Look at right up ahead. That's Angelo. Remember we talked about Scott Malcolm being all alone, a hedgehog in danger of passing away? Not the case now. Malcolm is now under attack from Scott Angelo. I think once Angelo cleared the traffic that was in front of him, he got right up behind this guys, and now Malcolm's got his hands full. Again, Angelo, originally born down under, now living in the flattest state in the United States, Florida, the land of the hanging chad, chasing Scott Malcolm, born and raised in Scotland. Still back behind. Can we drop back, director? We go back to Wilquette. He is still trying to get around this Porsche of Frank Torbers. They're now side by side. Look at this multi-class racing, how these cars are equally matched. The Porsche and the Audi, both drivers with their foot flat to the floor, scooting up in their chair. Now the Porsche pulls away a bit. They work their way. That's Scott Angelo in there. And we have a new, as Malcolm continues to lead. Let's go. Yes, there's the blue car. Now that's a pass, not for position. That's a car getting out of the way. That's Wilquette going around. Wilquette is trying to get to these. He's 2 seconds back behind the two leaders. Let's go up and look at Malcolm now, car number 30, because I think coming out of the La Source here, this is an opportunity. If Angelo can get a good run through a Rouge and Radion, about 5 car lengths back, about 4 car lengths back. That's the slow car causing a problem for Malcolm. Franzine gets out of the way. There's an opportunity now for Angelo. He's got it. He's a half car length back there, side by side, and Angelo has the momentum and the preferred track position. What more could you want to finish the pass? The momentum now, he clears it. He could actually come across in front of Malcolm if he wants. He doesn't risk it. He keeps a shallow entry. They come up behind the slower car of Scott Schrader. Schroeder gets out of the way. Great racing going on. And look who is back in the mix now. It's the multicolored car of Roquette. Great racing as they race 1, 2, 3. That is Jeffrey McDonald now. We talked about lap traffic playing a factor. Well, it's happening. They root through Ravage. Angelo is now ahead of Malcolm. But look who's back there, Roquette, as they race 1, 2, 3. The driver fourth in line, actually fifth in line if you count the slower car in front. That's Tybor. She's not part of this race, at least in class. We'll check in on the leaders of the Porsches in a minute, but the action is right here as they work on the lap traffic. McDonald goes around Rachel Williams. Wilch and Rachel doing a good job of getting out of the way. We'll talk a little bit more about Rachel in a minute when the action allows. Everybody clears Williams. Nice job by her. We're going to stay here on Scott Angelo as the racer. Okay, things have settled down a little bit, so let's go back and look at the MX5s. It is Jacob Leon. Now here's a guy who can race comfortably. Next guy for him, Jeremy Naylor. You can look on your tower over there. How about 17 seconds back as Leon has a nice win coming his way if he can just keep it clear. Naylor with about 3 seconds on the next driver. Naylor, as you see the car going around, that was the car of Charles Kellerman in the Porsche. The car behind him, that blue and yellow car, that is John Kelly. Again, that is a Porsche. That one doesn't count either. Naylor having a good run. I talked about Jeremy. I know him very well from the old MX5 days when he was devoted to the Roadster. If you're new to iRacing, you don't remember the Roadster? It was a right-hand drive. If we drop back maybe one more, we'll talk about the driver in third, Mark Olsiak. Car number 702. Trying to get up to Naylor if he can. He's about 3 seconds back. So the action back in the MX-5s, a little bit easier than what's going on up front. Director, let's go ahead. Let's go back up to... Now coming up behind these guys, that's Angelo in the blue car. Gets under Jeffrey McDonald. Angelo now weaving his way through Jonathan Williamson. Williamson doing a good job of getting out of the way. They work around Ravage. Malcolm clears him. Look at Wilquette coming through as well. It's a 3-car battle for that class. And so much it has to do with how well you can knife through traffic. The blue car going around Jasmine Beach. Jasmine does a good job of getting out of the way. There's more coming, Asmund. Stefan had to step away for a minute, but I'd like to welcome to the booth now. Who do we have, Director? Oh, it's Adam Lindgren is here with us. Go, Adam.
Hey, Soup. Good to see you.
It's getting a little lonely in my head. Take a sip of tea here. Good to have you with us. Multi-class racing going on, Adam. We got a good one. Battle up here for this Audi battle is amazing with Angelo trying to stay ahead of Malcolm.
Yeah, Angelo's trying to stay ahead of Malcolm, and he's doing a good job, but look at this. Jeffrey McDonald coming up alongside. Scott Angelo trying to hold on to the back of this group. He's really... Look how close these Audis are and how close the Porsches are. Each of these battles just so close at the moment.
As we ride on board. Gonna go. He gets that done working through the chicane. I think we better go back up front because I think we've had a change up for the lead in the Porsches. I do not believe Joe Perry, if I can read my chicken scratches, was our leader when we were last here.
I don't believe so, but look at this. Charles Kellyman trying to get a run here, but look at that. The Mazda's in the way there for a moment. Here comes John Kelly up to the back of Charles Kellyman. This is going to be close going down into the next turn. Yeah,
let's look at the car number 66. This is our pole sitter. Now racing well down the order. So that puts Perry out in front. Let's stay on this battle though.
Yeah, Joe Perry.
Kelly working on Kelly Men. We ride on board. Now don't get confused. We ride on board with help me out here. This is John Kelly behind Charles Kelly Man.
Yeah, these two very close together. John Kelly and Charles Kellyman were nose to tail as they came on the long straight there. So John Kelly, now they've about separated to about equidistant between each other, with Charles Kellyman, you know, just a couple of tenths ahead, and they've got Annie actually right ahead of them in that in the slower Porsche Cayman. So this is going to be very interesting as they try and get past there.
Glad you're with us here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. The car directly in front. Now, if we go up on this, we're looking at it. Now, there's Annie. She had a problem early. This is Annie Rabbits, who's responsible for this event. We talked about it in the opening. She had an off early. Good to have her back. Her claim to fame is that she got once stuck in a train door in France. Oh, let's go to 45, car Charles Kellyman. He just punted. This was not for position. He punted a car that was slowing him down. Oh, it was Joe Perry. He punted the leader.
It was for the lead. Yes, that's true. So Charles Kellyman just getting in way too deep. We're going to see it right here. He gets in very deep to the last chicane and just poop. There he goes.
Okay, now this is for fun. There are no points involved. But I would just like to tell John Kelly about Joe Perry what my dad always says. The axe forgets, the tree remembers. So if you're ever in another race with Joe Perry, and he happens to be a little more aggressive than you think, well, he was the tree of this one. Kelly now closing in behind Kellerman. Let's see. Does he make a move here into Lacombe? A little too far back.
I think he dropped out of the draft just a little early there. He might have had more of an opportunity to go if he stayed in the draft for longer on the straight, but maybe he's not trying to get by on this corner. Maybe he just wants to ride behind Kellyman and maybe put a little bit of distance between themselves and Perry behind.
Looking at this battle, it is a good one. So, without Perry in the mix now, it is Kellyman and Kelly going at it. We ride on board with the leader, looking back at Kelly.
Oh no! The TCR leaders just got taken out! There was a spun GT4 up ahead of them, and that ended up... No, sorry, this was for Scott McCollum, who was in second at the time. He's now on the inside of the track going through what used to be no-name corner. Oh, more contact!
We're going to look at Malcolm now. First of all, I think it starts with Jeffrey McDonald getting loose in front of them all, and that's how Scott Malcolm got caught in it. McDonald's exactly the Porsche, right? Now we can stay on this a bit, I think.
Oh.
So there's that. Now, is the action with Malcolm when he comes back out on the track?
It is, yes. Malcolm comes back across
let's stay
the
on
track.
It. Let's look at Scott Malcolm if we can, director. There we go. Now stay on him here. He's in the beach. He's doing a Y turn. This is another lesson to be learned for all you newcomers. Even though Scott's been with us for 12 years, he comes out here, the car is damaged, and I believe there's more action that happens. Are we right on this, do we think?
I believe it was actually an Audi TCR getting into Jeffrey McDonald again.
Okay.
So it was a
McDonald
different Audi.
Okay. All right. Well, Scott, you did good. You brought it out there safely. Well, so the action in that class is done. Let's go back and look and see John Kelly now. Oh, Kellyman. Sorry. Our leader is Kellyman. And look, not too far back. Only about just a tick under 2 seconds. It's the guy who got punted, Joe Perry.
Yeah, that's why I think, Soup, that Charles Kellyman and John Kelly aren't battling each other because they know Joe Perry's coming. And especially for Kellyman, he's like, please, please don't let Joe get up here.
The car you just saw Perry go around, that is Annie Ravitz. We talked about her. Annie, glad you're back out with us. Finished my story. She got stuck in a train door in France. I don't know I don't know the rest of the story, but I have visions of the train pulling away and her like hanging on, getting sucked through a tunnel. If you haven't checked out her YouTube page, make sure you do it. It is really entertaining.
And Soup, we're going to jump back down to the TCR lead because Wilkett and Angelo are really going tooth and nail. They were side by side down the back straight, and Wilkett actually came out on top of that. So Scott Angelo now trying to get back up to Wilkett, but it looks like Wilkett's got a little bit more drive right now.
Just to give you an idea of where they are on the track, these guys are racing for first in class here. They're about 16 seconds behind Joe Perry, who's racing third up there in the Porsches.
And Joe Perry lost a little bit of time through this downhill section to Kellyman and Kelly, so he's backed off of that. So that battle a little bit, backed off a little bit. So Scott Angelo and Wilkett still doing great right now. But we still have a battle for P5, I believe. Ooh. Sorry,
we haven't paid much love to Jacob Leon. Sometimes that happens. Let's stay on Jacob right now as we watch the faster cars coming up behind him. One of them being Alan Toon. We talked about some of these guys being youngsters out here, newcomers. Alan Toon, 67 years young.
Wow, that's a very youngster. I think that might be the youngest driver I've heard of on iRacing, which is awesome to hear. But Jacob Leon doing a good job navigating the traffic. You may think that it's just up to the faster class to navigate the traffic, but actually as the slower class, you have to make sure to make the decision on whether to hold your line or to take a slightly modified line to give the faster car an opportunity to get by, because if they get held up behind you, they might end up punting you, and that could end your race. And even though Jacob Leon has a 26-second lead over Jeremy Naylor, that could disappear if he gets sent off track.
And we have somebody making a pit. Austin Knight has decided to come in for a pit stop. Not sure why that is. He should be able to go the distance. Maybe he had some damage that he needed to fix. As we look at Leon, this is kind of a fun race we have going on here, but you can still learn some lessons. One of the most important things to know is we're going to move up and look at the battle here with Kramer. When you're dealing with faster traffic coming up behind you, one of the worst things you can do is be polite. You just want to hold your racing line. I've tried to get out of the way many times, and you confuse people. You want to be predictable.
Yeah, if you end up getting out of the way, you end up sending the other guy off or getting sent off yourself, because you do want to be predictable. It's the same thing when you're on the freeway. You don't want to get out of the way of the fast guys. You want to just hold your speed, hold your lane, and let them go by you. Because if you try and get out of the way, it might create an unpredictable situation that could send you or them off. This battle between Roger Morton and Arjen Kramer, though, is very, very good. Kramer trying to get to the back of Morton, and he's been close a couple of times in the last couple of laps, but just not close enough. But he definitely takes a better line through here.
Battle for third in class. These guys are about, they're a well a ways behind the guys that are ahead of them in the class. Several seconds.
And they're about to make their way past Annie as well soon.
Let's stay on this. We'll see how Annie handles the faster car. She keeps a straight line, very predictable, leaves a little bit of room on the inside. That's how you do it. And one more, keeping a nice straight line, and that allows Kramer to go by as well. Well done, Annie.
Yeah, but look at this. Kramer's got to run because Morton got held up a little bit by having to take the shallower line through the corner. That's not Annie's fault. That's on Morton for deciding when to make the pass. And so Morton, it's kind of a give and take, and that's the beauty of multi-class racing.
They head down into the chicane and they get that negotiated. We're going to go back up to the Porsches. It's Kellyman ahead of Kelly. Charles ahead of John. The 45 ahead of the 66. The white car ahead of the yellow car. I can't do any more. I think you got it figured out by now.
Definitely, and what's fascinating to watch is to watch Charles and John, and they're really pacing themselves and each other. And I think Joe Perry's gone around. No, he is not. That was weird. Sorry, my timing and scoring looked like it glitched out for a second.
But he has lost some ground, like you said. He was closing up.
Oh, he missed the corner. He missed the corner and had to go straight. So that's the issue with Perry.
Yeah, let's go, director. This will be fun to look at. Maybe he's just trying to save some fuel. This certainly will easier. Again, Adam, this is not the racing line you probably want to take.
No, and especially because at the end of this shoot down the outside, it gets very tight and squiggly here. You're going to see it right now. He has to brake a lot and take this really bumpy road that rejoins with the track surface, and that lost him about a second and a half to the guys up ahead.
Kind of felt like he was going through the drive-thru for some fast food there.
That's some very fast food, Sue.
All right, so with Perry out of the mix, we're going to go down and look at the Mazdas, 4th position.
Oh,
this is a battle. Go ahead.
Sorry to pull you away, but the lead in the Porsches is changing right now. The GT4 is John Kelly getting past Charles Kellyman here. Charles trying to hold well on the outside. They get in the grass. They make contact. Oh, goodness, that could have been a lot worse.
That was fun, and we're not over yet as they go down in the chicane. 9 minutes of racing to go.
You think this battle's over yet, Sue?
Nope, I do not. Let's stay on this a bit. Let's see if Kelly can pull away. Now, maybe John was faster than Charles. We'll see as they work through La Source. Now, they come up behind Rachel Williamson and Scott Schroeder. Rachel doing a good job of getting out of the way. Oh, sorry, Williams.
Yeah,
a little advice to newcomers. Adam, if you're new and you're in one of these races, make sure you fill out your iRacing profile. Gives the commentators something to talk about. Can we go ahead and look at Rachel Williams real quick, director? Here's what we know about her. This is fun, I gotta say it. Cougar gaming trans girl that actually has driven real-world tracks with performance cars, fun-loving, confident, and flirty, and working my way up from rookie to pro. I particularly like the flirty part.
Nothing like having a flirty driver on track. Definitely makes things exciting.
Anybody in the Orlando, Florida area? Give her a look.
All right.
Who needs eHarmony when you got iRacing? All right, what are we looking at, director? I got to catch my... Well, we're looking at this Mazda battle.
Yeah, this is P3 Mazdas. Yeah, this is the Global Sim Romance channel that we're taking a look at right now. Michael Jones and Dennis Pedersen battling, and they were side by side just moments ago.
All right, Adam, this is a good one. 3rd position. This is Roger Morton being attacked by Arjun Kremer. These guys have been nose to tail for most of the race.
Yeah, they have. They can't seem to figure out their differences here with Morton and Kramer taking the lead in different laps. They've got some lap traffic that they're going to have to go by. Some of the slower Porsches up ahead of them. So this is going to be a little interesting for them to navigate here, as the Porsches have different high speeds compared to the TCRs, and so the speed differential is going to be big, and these lap cars might cause a little bit of a problem for one or the other of them.
Director, I'm going to steal you away because it's heating up front. Let's go to Kelly. Oh no, and here it is. I can feel it coming. My spidey senses were tingling. Kelly gets into the MX5 of Peterson. He spins around. They were going through the chicane. I could feel it coming. Kelly is off. I'm looking to see if I can find Kellyman. The Kellyman has made it through. Okay.
Take a look at this. This is dealing with traffic once again. John Kelly coming up on some traffic in the Mazdas, and he just gets a little bit loose on the outside, then makes contact with the Mazda who went up on the inside. Kellyman was able to sneak through into the lead,
Wow.
and Joe Perry was able to make it through as well.
Director, can we go on board with I guess, who was it made it? Was it Kellyman? I'm going to get confused on this one. Here we go. All right. Watch this. Oh, wow.
That's just about as close as it gets, Sue.
Well, what that means is, while that was exciting, that kind of takes all the tension out of that one. Even with all that action that was going on, Joe Perry was not able to close in on that race at all. So we have Kellyman and Perry now as your leaders in the Porsches. Let's look in on Kevin Wilkett now. He's ahead of Angelo.
Yeah, Wilkett leading right now in the Audi TCRs. Angelo 3.5 seconds back. He's fallen back quite a bit since we last checked in. Wilkett seems to have the go of this later run. Now there's less than 5 minutes to go, so we're into the closing stages of this race, and no contact! No! That was John Kelly!
Boy, he's had an eventful few minutes.
Wilkett could lose the lead because of this. I don't believe it.
Okay. Now there's Adam Kelly's going to spin this, right?
Yep. Same place as we had the last incident with the
He looks
Porsche
so
and the
safe.
TCR.
Just stay there. No, don't come out. Don't come out. That's...
As they would say in F1, an unsafe rejoin.
Again, we are here to commentate as much as we are to instruct, and so that's a lesson to be learned. Boy, it's so hard though. It's against every fiber of your being. You want to get back out there and get going again. You got to be patient.
So John Kelly out of third. That leaves Kevin Whalen promoted to third in his 3.6 second battle with Carl Krone. But we're looking right now at Kevin Wilkett and Scott Angelo. That is the leader of the. That's Kevin Whalen actually behind these two.
Director, am I looking at the same thing you're seeing? Adam, you seeing this as well? There is no hood.
There is no hood.
After that contact. Here he comes. That is Angelo's. They work through the chicane. That car's going to have no straight line speed.
It's going to have no uphill speed, Soup. They're going to go up. They're going to go up ready on an Eau Rouge, and the car's just going to be dragging. Let's see how Angelo handles this, because he's going to have to go around the outside here.
Now, on the roof of that car, there's a smiling face. I don't know if it is Kevin, but they may need to repaint that one with a frown. There's the pass, and he kind of knew that was coming.
Absolutely. So watch the speed. Well, actually, they're going to have a Mazda in the way here, so that's actually going to hold up Angelo a little bit. But watch, let's see. Oh, no contact!
He's gonna
And they're all around.
They're both crashing.
This is the lead.
And Angelo both crash.
Okay, so Kevin Whalen was able to make it through, but he's wrecked now out of third place. Now we've got more contact and wrecks up ahead of them as they try to escape. So that is Dennis Pedersen out of fifth in the Mazdas. So Scott Angelo he's still in the lead, I believe.
Angelo has got it rolling again.
So Angelo with major damage might win this race in the TCRs.
He's got to go, Director.
Morton.
I guess we'll get Morton, who was trying to catch up to these guys. He has crashed. We want to go back and take a look at the Angelo crash, Director. We have time. We saw it live, but we'll give you one more look at it.
Here we go.
There he is. It's all about the lap traffic. Oh, he was so far off.
Yeah, he was trying to carry speed, the Mazda was, through the corner and ended up going wide, and the TCR was already wide enough, and just more and more contact up ahead of them. So Morton now on the back of Angelo. This is for the lead in the TCRs, and now it's the same thing, but backwards for Angelo, as Morton has the straight line speed now that Angelo is damaged. And I believe our leaders in the Porsches are getting the white flag this time.
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at this battle here with Angelo, as I believe the leaders are getting the white flag. I think we're going to get a pass. Now, Adam, I thought Roger Morton also had some issues there, but it looks like he's okay. He's going to make this pass. There's no wing on the back of Angelo. And there's a new leader, Roger Morton.
Roger Morton inheriting the lead as he gets by Scott Angelo here. That's going to be a big gap by the time they get down to the next corner. Kramer's still going. He's only a second back of Angelo, so those two's battle is not over yet.
And Morton will go under the flag stand and see the white flag. Let's go ahead and look at Charles Kellyman, because it'll give us a chance to talk about a couple leaders in class here. Coming up on the back of Jacob Leon. Leon, he's got himself a 45-second lead to Jeremy Naylor.
That's quite a sizable lead, but Soup, as we've seen, that could disappear in seconds.
Oh, careful, boys. Kellyman with almost a 4-second lead. They get that sorted out. Great run from Jacob Leon. Adam, bless you for stepping in with Stefan having technical issues. You were here. Man, I needed you, as that was a lot of excitement.
Not a problem, Soup. Glad to join in. And it's awesome seeing such an awesome multi-class race. I cover the Camel Series, and seeing multi-class is my favorite kind of racing to cover, so it's great to jump in and watch a race like this.
I have to ask for combat pay from our bosses on this one. That was an exciting race. Charles Kellyman out in front of the Porsches. The Audis is Roger Morton. And it is a quiet run from Jacob Leon, as we're going to be wrapping this one up pretty soon. I don't think there's many battles out there. Let's go ahead and let's look at Charles Kellyman here, as we'll follow the leaders as they finish up. I believe next on the track will be Leon when he comes across, if I'm correct. Yeah. Through the chicane, just the right and the left here for Charles Kellyman. What a great race. Well done, Charles, as you pick up round number 3 of the Snail Community special race that we just had. Now we'll pick up Leon. He comes across and wins in the MX5.
It looks like Roger Morton's far enough ahead of Kramer in order to be able to retain the lead, so he's going to be able to hang on to that, barring a mistake in the final chicanes.
Very nice of these drivers to all be pretty much on the same part of the track, so we can highlight them all. Roger Morton through Blanchimont. The final chicane, and remember the finish line is just on the other side of this left-hander. And winner in the Audis of the Snail Racing Community Race, that is Roger Morton.
Kramer, a good attempt to try and get back up there, but he's going to have to settle for second.
Hey, let's go ahead and look at Knight and Crony in a battle. The two Porsches fighting it out.
Oh, over under here.
Working through. We're still good. This is a tight one.
Oh no! Knight got a little bit loose there. That's going to lose him in touch with Crony, unless Crony makes a big mistake, and he does. Knight now back into the battle. Both of them making a couple of mistakes here on the last lap.
Look at the momentum for Knight. He's coming. Now they go through the sweeping left-hander that is Blanchimont.
Crony's weaving to try and break him off.
2 car lengths back. He's closing 1 car length back. This is just for fun. They both go wide. Look at the momentum from Knight. Diving in deeper than Buddha's belly button is going to be Austin Knight. The defensive line they both missed the turn. There's going to be slowdown penalties. It's a matter of who's going to get the worst slowdown. I don't think either one of these lap times are going to count.
So the question is, who's going to finish ahead of who here? Because we don't know.
I'll have to wait to see how iRacing scores that one. Because I think they're both going to get slowdown penalties on the final lap. It'll be a time penalty. We'll see how it plays out. There's some anger going on out there. It's just for fun, boys. The racing is over here at Spa. Sweet, sassy, molassy, mama, cover my eyes. I've know enough to know I've seen too much. Oh, my goodness. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. You're watching the Global SimRacing Network. Welcome back to Spa and GSRC's coverage of the Snail Racing Community Race. Round number 3, the third event that they've had. And my goodness, they've had some exciting ones. This one will rival all of them. Let's give you the finishing order. I believe this going to show up as how they came across the class overall. Yes, I believe I'm right. So it's Charles Kellyman in first place. What a battle he had. Joe Perry is going to be in second. Both of those guys were in Porsches. Then we get to 3 Audis. Roger Morden, Arjun Kremer, and Scott Angelo. Boy, what an eventful race he had. Frank Tybersh in the 6th position overall with Scott Malcolm, who was leading for a little while in the Audis. In 8th spot, it is Andy Maxwell, Kevin Wilpett, we saw his escapades, and Emil Johansson, a quiet 10th for him. Adam.
All right, 11th on track and 7th in class is Alan Toon in one of the Porsches as well, with Ralph Cullinan and Najib Ahmed behind him. That's going to be 9th in class as well. Then we have Carl Kronhe and Austin Knight. They had eventful final 5 minutes as well, coming back into the 15th position overall. Then we have David Ayers, Simon Fell, and Sean Randall, who came in as the next Porsche finishers. Then we have Jeffrey McDonald and Kevin Whalen, who round out your top 20 on track.
Hidden Blackjack is Michael Bingham. Mark Bradshaw is in the double duck spot. Stuart Newman and John Kelly go 23rd and 24th. Now we get down to the MX5s, and we didn't forget about you guys because you're way down the order. Honestly, we looked, but to be honest, the battling down here was not that close. We didn't have a lot of battles to look at. Jacob Leon, well, obviously, as he wins by almost a minute over Jeremy Naylor, with Johan Else behind him in 27th. Then we get another Audi there with Jasmine Beach and Scott Schroeder in 29th and 30th. Rachel Williams.
Then we have Dennis Mildgaard Pedersen coming home in 31st place overall, with Annie coming home in 32nd, so a couple of spots up from when we last checked in on her. Then we have Mark Olchek coming home in 33rd, with Michael Jones 34th overall, Gary Budzian in 35th in his Mazda. Then we have another Audi as James Ratcliffe. Then we have Lyndall McMurphy, Jonathan Williamson in the Mazdas. Then we get into the people who had some serious issues, such as Aaron Worrell in the GT4 and Alex Vanderveer. And then our DNFs start to occur. Paul Bishop, Martin J. Sampson, Dale Bennison, and David K. Hall.
All right, we're able to do a few intervals. I want to talk first to Joe Perry, who finished second overall. What an eventful race from here. Joe, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Oh, my. You guys put on quite a show up there. I thought after your incident, I thought you might be able to run these guys back down.
I tried to, but the tires were kind of gone, and I couldn't quite catch up. I was surprised when I came around the chicane and I saw John backwards, but it was
how much difficult was it the compared to the first 10 minutes to the final 10 minutes?
yeah. The car's pretty heavy at the start, but that kind of keeps it kind of stable. But as the tires started to go, the front end especially, I was getting a lot of understeer through the corners.
All right, you were in the Porsche. What is your car of choice if you had your favorite to race? What do you feel the most comfortable in on the iRacing service?
Probably the BMW GTE. We did a 12-hour race at Suzuka a couple weeks back, so that's probably the car I'm strongest in right now. But I do a lot of Skip Barber racing.
You do indeed. Congratulations on a second place finish. So close, but you put on a good show.
It was fun. It was really good. I just want to give a shout out to Annie. It was a great race. It was a lot of fun.
It was indeed, and agreed. Thanks to Annie Rabbits for doing this. Joe Perry, second place finisher today in the Porsche. Do we have who you got there, Adam?
Yeah, we've got Austin Knight, who we're going to be talking to. Austin came home 6th in class, and Austin, a very eventful race today for everybody, but you had a little bit of a pit lane moment there. What brought you into the pit?
Pretty much a wall. I was following a TCR, and next thing I know, they slammed on the brakes, so I wasn't expecting them, and dinged my front. And that race was basically just stacking a barrel full of tannerite and just lighting it up. Oh my goodness.
It sure was exciting. We saw a lot of good battles and a lot of close racing, a lot of door banging going on. And so, with the Audis and the TCRs being so close with the TCR and the GT4 rather being so close on pace, how difficult was the traffic out there for you today?
Well, the TCR traffic, these guys were all different skill levels. Some of us have been racing ever since, last year. I've been racing since I was ever 7, but I had a massive crash, and so I can't feel my right hand or brain damage and all that stuff. So all those different skill levels, but these community races, they're all a bit of fun. I know some emotions come out on track, and that ending battle, I got pretty furious after the race, but then I realized we're all different skill levels. So sorry to Cronky, I believe, who I was battling with. That was some nutty battling, but hey, it was fun. Traffic, pretty easy, pretty fun. Just got to keep the cars straight, which I didn't do. I like taking it sideways a little bit too much.
Yeah, GT4s do have that tendency, and it was really great to cover the race as well. So, Austin, is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank my esports team, Wolfpack Esports, my sponsors, Artesian Builds, my local community group, Saga. Thank you for all helping me, and shout out to Rachel. Hi. And shout out to you guys. And I'm going to have to head off because I got a broadcast for a different esports company. So y'all have a good night.
All right, see you later, Austin. And it was great talking to you. And Soup, it appears that you have.
I have Scott Malcolm. Yeah. The very first broadcast on GSRC ever was a MX5 World Tour event, which might include this driver. If I am right, who this is, Scott Malcolm will know if he has a heavy Scottish brogue. Scott, is that you?
That definitely is me, yes.
Good to hear from you again. It's been a long time. And let me tell you, since I knew you back in the MX5 World Tour, your driving has really improved. Congratulations.
Don't know what to say about that, eh? Thanks.
You were in a fun battle today, but you got caught up in an incident.
Yeah, it was one of these ones where the car in front kind of, I don't know who it was. It was one of the Porsches. He just lost it, and I think Scott Angelo went one way. I went another way. I just picked the wrong way.
Tell me how you found your way to the Snail Racing community. Annie's from Scotland. Did that have anything to do with it?
No, it was who was it? Charles Kellerman
Ah,
to put a post in on our team chat about this race. So I thought I'll leave it to the last minute. I wasn't going to come in, but I thought let's just do it. Let's have a wee
wow.
bit of fun.
It was great to see you racing again. Congratulations. It was fun to watch you race. And I'm sure we're going to do another one of these. So keep an eye on the community, and we'll hope to see you again when we do another one on GSRC.
Yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out.
Thanks a lot. That is Scott Malcolm. I'm going to take the next one, Adam, because I know about who we got here. I believe we're going to talk. We're going to talk to Arjun Kremer. I want to make sure we talk to Annie here before we go. Adam, go ahead. You can talk to Kremer.
Yeah, Kremer, you had a couple of interesting laps there where you dodged a couple of incidents up ahead of you. Talk us through what got you into the second spot.
Yeah, I was, to be honest, a bit surprised. At the start already, I started, and then I was on 3, I saw, and then, some couple of fast guys were behind me, and so they took me over because, I'm just an average driver. But and I think in the end, it was a nice fight with Roger Morton, who in the end finished first in our TCR class. But it was a nice fight, and especially with the Mazdas, then it gives you some headaches sometimes during the race, but it worked out fine for me, so I'm happy. Yeah.
Well, Arjun, we got to jump off quick, unfortunately, but is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go for your second place finish today?
Of course, Annie. She was a special race with the multi-class, and I liked it really very much. So looking forward for next time.
All right, Arjun, thank you so much for talking to us, and great race today. It was great action, and you drove very well. We look forward to seeing you again next time.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
That was Arjun Kramer, who came home in second, and Soup, looks like you've got Annie.
I do. Let's hope this is the person who made this all possible. First of all, Annie, let's start by seeing if I'm getting your last name pronounced right. I sure hope it's Rabbits, because that's fun to say. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. Like in Buddy.
Okay, like in Buddy. All right. Before we talk about your race, let's go ahead and talk about the event in general. My goodness, what a fun event. Thank you so much for putting on. Are you happy with how it turned out?
Yeah, I didn't expect so many people, to be honest with you. I thought it would be like 10 of us. I never expected so many people to turn up. So I first of all just want to say thank you to everybody that turned up to race. It's absolutely fantastic. I didn't see much because I crashed out myself.
Yes, you
So
did.
I was on my lonesome self for majority of the race. But saying that, the first 7 laps was certainly full of events that I saw, and it looked fantastic.
We did get to see a race a little bit, as this is multi-class racing, and one of the jobs is you're never really by yourself because there's always faster cars coming up. You did
Yeah.
a good job of keeping a straight line and just being predictable and letting those cars get around.
Yeah, luckily for me, I did a couple of endurance races before, multi-class endurance races previously, so that helped me a wee bit, just to make sure that I stay in my line, or if I didn't stay on my line, just make sure that they can pass safely. But yeah, it was fun.
All right, we do our research here at GSRC, so you have to finish the story for me. I hear rumors of you getting stuck in a train door in France. Tell me the train started to pull away.
Oh my gosh, Red. Oh yeah. Yeah, Larry and I went to Paris, and coming from South Africa, we don't have trains as public transport. So we didn't know, or I didn't know how the doors work, where you've got to put in your wee little card and the door opens and you go through. Um, and I was too slow to go through the door, and the door, yeah, crunched me basically, and I was stuck. But I was stuck. Nothing happened, luckily. But yeah, they had to go and get one of the guys to come and open the door.
That's a great story. Why don't you go ahead and plug your website? I have watched some of your stuff. My goodness, my wife said, "Honey, it's time to go to sleep now. Stop watching her." Really, really entertaining stuff. What is the website or the YouTube channel, and what do we need to know?
The YouTube channel is Snail Racing, and the website where we do our blogs and information is annieandlarry.com. And then we've got a Facebook page as well, Snail Racing 005.
Well, let me tell you, we're going to thank you here officially in the script, but I want to thank you personally for choosing GSRC to broadcast this race. We had a great time. You put on a great show. It was a lot of fun. We hope to do it again.
No, I want to thank you and Sean. You guys are very professional, and I would recommend you to everybody and anybody that I can. And thank you so much for making the time for Snail Racing. I really do appreciate it, because I know you and Sean have been supporters since day one.
Keep us in mind when you do another one. There you have it. Annie Rabbits, she didn't have the best results, but she's always fun to talk to. We hope to talk to her again. All right, let's go ahead and thank everybody officially now. This is in the script at Snail Racing Community, especially Andy and Larry, for organizing the event and contracting with GSRC to broadcast. We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to sim racing broadcasts, as we heard from one of the guys who was leaving the interview to go to another company to broadcast one. We're all friends here. A rising tide raises all boats. Thanks for flying GSRC this time. Thanks to the company's equipment or software you see on the screen right now we use on the broadcast. Original music at GSRC. You know you're watching GSRC when you hear the music of June Milan. See the screen for contact information. On screen now are some of the upcoming broadcasts. Check those out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also at Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And the action was so intense, I didn't have time to plug our live timing and scoring, which is at GSRC.tv. We're going to be doing that one for almost all the events, so check that out in the future. And while you're here, if you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber by hitting our big red button to subscribe. Also, go over to Annie's page and do the same over there as well. And if you're looking, this is really important. If you're looking for something special for the person who has everything, we got ourselves a merchandise store. It's at gsrc.storeenvy.com. That's one E in Store Envy. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, that would not be Stefan who had technical difficulties. It would be Adam, Sean, and Dougie. I'd like to thank all of you for watching. Stefan, I'd like to thank you too for coming in. We'll catch you next time. You're always fun to work with. With that said, we're off to have fun. Storm of the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.